Okay, everybody, welcome to Chapter 4, the last chapter that we are going to do this semester. If you've made it here, you've made it to the end. Congratulations. This activity is going to be just on the vocabulary for this chapter, just to make sure that everybody understands what vocabulary you're responsible for in this chapter. We are going to be looking at the family vocabulary, the stem-changing verbs, and then the verbs in the second part of the chapter. Everything else, don't worry about it. Just the family, the stem-changing verbs, and the verbs in the second part of the chapter. If it's not that, it's nothing for you to worry about. So let's go ahead and look at the vocabulary for Chapter 1. And as always, we will start a chapter with new preguntas personales. Pregunta personal número 1. ¿Cuántas personas hay en tu familia? Cuántas, you'll remember, means how many. Personas, persons, people. Remember that I means either there is or there are. And in your family. So how many people are there in your family? Your answer is going to be I, and however many people, personas en mi familia. So I might say something like, hay dos personas en mi familia, because there's just my husband and me in my immediate family. Any number you put in there, I'm going to believe you. I don't know anything about your family. Okay. Número 2. ¿Quiénes son las personas en tu familia nuclear? ¿Quiénes son las personas en tu familia nuclear? Let's see, what does that mean? ¿Quiénes, who, son, are, las personas, the people, en tu familia nuclear, in your family. What kind of family? Your nuclear family, or in other words, your close family. So for that, I'm looking for like brothers, sisters, mother, father, husband, kids, the people who live at your house, those kinds of things. So, how are we going to answer? En mi familia nuclear tengo. And then I want vocabulary words there, not names. So I don't want Mary, Elizabeth, and John. I want something like, en mi familia nuclear tengo madre, padre, esposo, hermanos, hijos, things like that. Okay? Próximo. ¿Quiénes son las personas en tu familia extendida? Same type of question, just one word different. Who are the people in your, what kind of family? Extended family. So in other words, the people who only come over at Christmas time. Your cousins, your aunts and your uncles, your grandparents maybe, depends on whether you live with your grandparents, those types of things. So for me, and once again, I'm not looking for names of people, I'm looking for vocabulary words. So for me, I might say, en mi familia extendida tengo abuelos, tíos, y primos. So 3 separate vocabulary words. For both this question and the last question, I want 3 separate Spanish vocabulary words. Okay, próximo. ¿Tienes mascota? Now, you know tienes means do you have, but you're not going to have the slightest clue what the word mascota means because it isn't even one of your vocabulary words. I'm just dropping this one on you like a bomb. But it kind of looks like the word mascot. And if we're talking about families, we don't have family mascots, but we do have family pets. So mascota is the word for pet. ¿Tienes mascota? And your answer might be sí. Tengo un gato, or sí, tengo un perro. Now, gato is another word that I'm just giving you, and you don't have to know it unless that's what you've really got. The book is not an equal opportunity pet owner. It only gives you the word for perro, which is dog. Notice that perro, with a rolling double R, is the word for dog, but if you only have one R, perro, that's the word for butt. That's why those rolling R's are important. Perro means butt, perro means dog. And then a gato is a cat. So I wanted to at least be an equal opportunity pet ownership here. So you could say, sí, tengo un gato, or tengo un perro, or you could say, no, no tengo mascota, whatever. Now, if you've got snakes or rats or things like that, you're going to have to look those words up yourself. I know them, but I'm not going to muddy the waters here for everybody else. Okay. Y finalmente, ¿quién es tu favorito en tu familia? Who is your favorite person in your family? So, if your favorite person is a guy, you would say, mi favorito es mi hermano. If your favorite person is a girl, you would say, mi favorita es mi hermana. I'll just take this as an opportunity to talk a little bit about the family vocabulary that we've got. If you look in your book, you'll see words like hijo and hija, hermano, hermana, tío, tía. So if it ends in an O, it's masculine. So, a son or a brother or an uncle. If it ends in an A, it's feminine. So a daughter, a sister, uncle was the other one I used. Not all words are like that. Madre and padre are separate words for mother and father, and I will give you this warning. Padres, when you make padre plural, padres, that's the word for parents. So if I want to talk about my parents, I say mis padres. Now there is a word in Spanish, parientes. Parientes sounds like parents, but it's actually a false cognate. Parientes means relatives. So, just FYI. And those are all your preguntas personales. As usual, that will be the first part of any test. So, let's play around a little bit with the family vocabulary. Vamos a repasar el vocabulario de la familia. Y para empezar, yo voy a decir una frase y ustedes van a decirme si la frase es cierto o falso, basado en el árbol de la familia. Árbol de la familia is family tree. So you guys have a little family tree there. And if you look in the middle row, second picture to the left, that doesn't look anything at all like me, but I labeled that one yo. So this family tree is going to be, all the questions are going to be based on this family tree and me being that redheaded girl. So then Jose would be my husband, Anita and Juan would be my brother and sister, Carlos and Dorotea would be my parents, Pedro, Teresa, and Julio would be my kids, and Pepe and Juanita would be my brother's kids, my nieces and nephews. So part of the fun here is if you're not any good with family, you know, if you're not into what's that thing called? That family tree program. Well, if you're not into genealogy in English, it's only going to be worse in Spanish. But here we go. Yo voy a decir una frase y ustedes van a decir si la frase es cierto o falso. Número 1. José es mi esposo. José es mi esposo. ¿Cierto o falso? Cierto. Número 2. Carlos es mi padre. Carlos es mi padre. ¿Cierto o falso? Cierto. Número 3. Anita es soltera. Anita es soltera. ¿Cierto o falso? Now that one's tricky. Soltera isn't like brother, sister, aunt, uncle. It's an adjective. Soltera means single. She doesn't have a husband with her, so cierto. Número 4. Juan es mi hijo. Juan es mi hijo. ¿Cierto o falso? According to that family tree, falso. Juan es mi hermano. Okay. Número 5. Juanita es mi nieta. Juanita es mi nieta. ¿Cierto o falso? That one's actually falso. I put that in there wrong. Juanita isn't my nieta. My granddaughter. She is mi sobrina, my niece. So, sorry about getting that one wrong. ¿Dónde estoy? Número 6. Julio es mi hermano. Julio es mi hermano. ¿Cierto o falso? Falso again. Julio es mi hijo. Próximo. Julio y Pepe son primos. Julio y Pepe son primos. ¿Cierto o falso? Cierto. They are cousins. Próximo. Emilia es la tía de Pedro. Emilia es la tía de Pedro. What does that mean? Emilia is the aunt of Pedro. Remember, we don't have the apostrophe S for possession, so I can't say Amelia is Pedro's aunt. I have to say is the aunt of Pedro. ¿Cierto o falso? Cierto. Y finalmente, Dorotea es la abuela de Pedro. Dorotea es la abuela de Pedro. ¿Cierto o falso? Cierto. Okay. This is one of your participation points for this chapter, and it is also exactly how I will test this on the test. I am going to give you this picture of the family tree, and I'm going to give you a sentence like Jose es mi blank, and you'll have to find me on the picture. I'm going to use this same exact picture. And you'll have to find Jose and figure out that Jose is my husband, and then remember the word for husband, which is esposo. Okay? Now, let me give you a hint with number 3. Emilia y Juan están. For that one, I am not looking for husband and wife. I am looking for the word married. And they use, for some odd reason, estar with marriage. Seems like a weird use for something that's supposed to be long-term and permanent, not short-term, but they do. So if you want to say somebody is married, you would say está casada. So, Emilia y Juan están casados. So that's what you're looking for number 3. That's your hint. And I'm giving it to you because it's going to be on the test, so you better remember it. Okay, let's go on to the verbs then. You've got 2 sets of verbs that you need to be able to play with in this chapter. One set is on page 115, so I recommend you open up your books to page 115 so you can follow along with those verbs. Y para repasar los verbos, yo voy a decir una frase y ustedes van a decirme si la frase es cierto o falso. Número 1. Yo almuerzo a las 9 de la noche. Now these are our stem changing verbs. So almuerzo is from almorzar. Yo almuerzo a las 9 de la noche. I eat lunch at 9 at night. ¿Cierto o falso? Falso. Doesn't make any sense to eat lunch at 9 at night. Número 2. Los textos para las clases cuestan mucho. Los textos para las clases cuestan mucho. Textos, textbooks, right? Para clases, for classes. Cuestan, cuestan comes from costar. Mucho, cuestan mucho, cost a lot. Cierto. Número 3. Yo duermo por la noche. Duermo comes from dormir, to sleep. So I sleep at night. Duermo por la noche. Cierto. Número 4. Las clases en Midway University empiezan en agosto y octubre. Clases en Midway University empiezan en agosto y octubre. Classes in Midway, empiezan is from empezar, begin. In August and October, cierto, that's true. We're getting ready. We started in August. We're getting ready to start another term in October. Número 5. Me gusta encontrar dinero. Remember from last chapter that me gusta means I like. What do I like? Encontrar, to find. And remember, dinero is an old vocabulary word. Dinero is money. I like to find money. Oh, heck yeah, cierto. Número 6. Es fácil entender español. Es fácil entender español. It is, fácil you remember is easy. Entender, to understand, español. I'll leave that one up to you. I say cierto. Maybe you say differently. Próximo. A los niños les gusta jugar. A los niños les gusta jugar. Niños are children. Les gusta is like, so children like. Jugar, to play. Cierto. And adults too sometimes. Próximo. Necesito pensar mucho en los exámenes. Necesito pensar mucho durante los exámenes. I need to think a lot during exams. Cierto. Okay, let's do some more. Más frases. Yo pido una Coca-Cola para beber. Yo pido una Coca-Cola para beber. Pido is from pedir, so I ask for a Coke to drink. Cierto. Próximo. Me gusta perder dinero. Me gusta perder dinero. I like to lose money. Not a chance. Falso. Número 3. Yo puedo hablar español. Yo puedo hablar español. Puedo is from poder, to be able. So I am able to speak Spanish. Cierto. Número 4. Los estudiantes prefieren recibir Fs. Los estudiantes prefieren recibir Fs. Students prefer to receive Fs? I don't think so. Falso. Número 5. Los estudiantes quieren profesores estúpidos. Los estudiantes quieren profesores estúpidos. Querer is, or quieren is from querer. So students want stupid professors? I doubt it. Falso. Próximo. Es fácil recordar. That's a typo. It corrected it for me. That should be recordar. Love that spell check. Es fácil recordar el vocabulario. Es fácil recordar el vocabulario. Falso. Even I'll admit it's not easy to remember the vocabulary. Próximo. Los estudiantes de español repiten el vocabulario. Los estudiantes de español repiten el vocabulario. Spanish students repeat the vocabulary. You should be repeating the vocabulary with the recording at the beginning of each chapter in order to learn how to pronounce it and get it in your heads better, because you can't remember what you can't pronounce. So, cierto. Próximo. Sirven pizza en la pizzería. Sirven pizza en la pizzería. Cierto o falso? They serve, from servir, pizza in the pizzeria. Cierto. Okay, now you also have some irregular verbs on page 131. So I recommend that you skip on over to page 31 so you can follow along with this. Y ahora yo voy a decir una frase y ustedes van a decirme si es lógica o no lógica. Número 1. Te invito. Once again, spell check has been my friend. Te invito, I invite you, a una fiesta. Te invito a una fiesta. Lógica o no lógica? It's logical that I'd invite you to a party. Número 2. Paseo en el parque. Paseo en el parque. Pasear is one of our new vocabulary words, to stroll or to walk. Now, parque you don't technically know, and it looks funny, so if you're only looking at it, you might be panicked. But what does it sound like when I say it? Parque, the park. So you take a walk in the park? Lógica o no lógica? Lógica. Número 3. Pongo mis libros en la mesa. Pongo mis libros en la mesa. Lógica o no lógica? Pongo is from poner. So I put books on the table. Lógica. Número 4. Salgo de la casa para trabajo a las 9 de la noche. Salgo de la casa para trabajo a las 9 de la noche. Salgo is from salir, irregular yo form. So I leave from the house for work at 9 at night. Lógica o no lógica? In my life, no lógica. Maybe that's logical in yours. I don't know, your schedule. Número 5. Sé el vocabulario. Sé el vocabulario. Sé is one of our just wildly irregular verbs. It's from saber, which means to know facts. So is it logical that you should know vocabulary? Lógica. Próximo. Conozco a mis amigos. Conozco a mis amigos. Conocer means to know, but to know people. Is it logical that I should know my friends? I hope so. Lógica. Próximo. Toco la guitarra. Toco la guitarra. Toco is from tocar, I play. La guitarra, a guitar. Lógica o no lógica? Lógica. Y finalmente, traigo una televisión a clase. Traigo una televisión a clase. Traigo is from traer. So I bring una televisión a clase. I bring a television to class. Lógica? No lógica. Okay. Now let's look at some pictures. ¿Qué pasa? What's happening? What's happening in the picture? Just give me the infinitive, the unconjugated verb. This kid's having lunch. ¿Qué pasa? Almorzar. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? This kid's sleeping. Dormir. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? What's happening? This guy finds something. Encontrar. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? This guy, I think he understands something. These pictures are even hard for me. Don't worry, I'm not going to test it this way. Yes, entender. He understands something. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? These kids are playing. Specifically, they're playing football. Football is soccer in Spanish. Fútbol norteamericano. North American football is what we call football. So, to play, a game, not an instrument. Jugar. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? This kid's inviting somebody somewhere. Invitar. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? They're taking a stroll with their dog, the stick figure is. Pasear. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? The little girl is putting a book on the table. To put. Poner. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? This person's leaving. Salir. Próximo. ¿Qué pasa? To touch Or to play a musical instrument, tocar, tocar la guitarra. Próximo. Little dog has brought the newspaper. Traer. Okay, more work with these verbs, and this is another part of your participation points. You'll have to pause the video on this section, and this is how I'll test this. I'm going to give you a verb or a sentence with a blank in it and some verbs to choose. You'll have to choose the logical verb to complete the sentence, and you'll have to conjugate it properly. Since most of these verbs are irregular in their yo form, most of the time I'll give you the yo form. But for the stem changing verbs, I might give you tú or él or ella or ustedes or ellos, or I might give you nosotros, the form that doesn't change, just to make sure that you remember that. So this is one set of participation points. And then when you're done with this, go on to this one. So you'll have to pause the video in 2 places to do these 2 sets of participation points. And before I leave off this video, the last thing that I need to remember to tell you is, since I'm only doing 1 set of videos for this chapter because there will not be new information in week 8, I need to tell you your composition topic for the Chapter 4 test. And your composition topic for the Chapter 4 test will be to write a composition to describe at least 6 members of your family, 3 members of your nuclear family, and 3 members of your extended family. And you will need to describe each of them with an adjective. So 6 different adjectives. So you might say something like, en mi familia nuclear, tengo mi madre, mi padre, y mi hermano. And then you could say, mi madre es morena. Mi padre es estúpido. My father's not stupid, he's a great guy, but it's just what came to my head. Y mi hermano es alto. And then you could say, en mi familia extendida, tengo mis primos, mis tíos, y mis abuelos. And then you could say, mis abuelos son viejos. Mis primos son locos. What's loco? Crazy. Y mis tíos son inteligentes. Anything like that. Something like that would do. That will be your composition topic for this chapter. And that's it for this vocabulary lesson.